I'm just going to wait a few minutes just to see if we get a few people uh, to join the live. If we don't, I'll just go ahead and record like a traditional video, and I guess you guys can watch the replay. Um, I decided to go with 7 o'clock because I felt like a lot of the folks that like to watch football will probably be pretty much done with the games. So my Eagles actually won a squeaker, but it was a pretty miraculous victory because I actually thought we might have let that one slip myself until I seen Jordan Davis, grab that. Till I seen Jordan Davis run it back. So for that TD, so I'm hype about that. So I didn't highly publicize this particular live. I did say I would be going on Sundays. So right around 6 o'clock. It's a little bit later. I'll probably set it more like 7. 7 will probably be the time going forward. So everybody that joins the live going forward, they'll see that we're live at 7. So I'll just, like I said, give it a couple minutes to allow a few more people to join the chat. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Michelle. How are you? How are you? Come on in. Come on in the room. I got a few more people I see loading in. Yep, quite a few more people are loading in, so let's let them just keep coming on in. Vanity, hey Vanity, how are you? How are you? I am excited to talk to the community tonight. I am excited to talk to the community tonight. Just to talk about an update for myself and a few of the community topics from the week. So we'll get started in just about a minute. I like to give it a few minutes just to allow more people to enter the room. So, hey Tammy, how are you? Hello, Linda's Journey. How are you? I'm glad you guys are deciding to spend your Sunday night with me. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Trust me. Because you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. Hey, JC. How are you? Hey, how are you? You actually were one that actually were looking forward to my live, so I definitely do appreciate you being here. And I know I said 6 o'clock, but I'm a little bit behind today. So cooking meals for the week. Nice, nice. Yeah, that is very good. To be hey Delilah, how are you? How are you? I think everybody is here. I think everybody's here, so I'll probably go ahead and get started. The room has built, and I like for everybody to get the opportunity to say hello. So that's pretty much what's going on right now. Everybody's just saying hello. So I will go ahead and get started. So basically, I'll do my update first because y'all know I like to get the numbers out the way because that's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't like it to be something that drags down something that I drag out to the end. I like to just get the numbers right out the way because that's usually what people like to hear. So we'll go right at it. Yes, please like, and subscribe if you have not already. I'm Geez1of1. If this is your first time viewing my channel, and I like to go live on Sundays. Well, I used to just do videos, but I've started doing the lives to just talk about my weekly update and then get right into some of the community topics. So here we go. So basically, this week I am down a total of 26. I have lost a total of. Hey Joe, thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate you. Yes, please like. I do appreciate you all the way from the UK. So, like I said, I don't have a whole gang of or a ton of people to join my lives, but I do have the most important people to join. So it's not about quantity; it's about quality. And you guys are all the most important people. So thank you for showing up. So my weekly update. I basically am in week 37, or I just completed week 37. I am now down 84 pounds and 26.2% of my actual body weight. So that is absolutely like just it's hard for me to even believe, because back in January, I didn't know that I would end up, being down, almost 100 pounds. You know what I mean? But like by fall, you know what I mean? Because my initial goal was to lose 100 pounds, and right now I'm literally down 84 pounds. So I literally have 16 pounds to go to get to that 100 pound marker, which was the first marker. And I set that marker without actually knowing what anything about maintenance. I had no thoughts on maintenance at the very beginning. I knew nothing about that. You know what I mean? It was just about, can I get on here and can I lose? 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 Right? So I'm losing. You know what I mean? And nothing special. I'm just still doing the same things. The latest thing is I did titrate up, and I'm almost a month through my 10 milligram. So I mean, I am actually so grateful for that, because the first time I tried it in the summer, I just think I wasn't ready. My body wasn't ready for it. You know what I mean? And it had my heart rate going crazy. And now, since I guess I'm just I'm in better condition. I actually have not, God willing, and I'm thankful I haven't had a problem, this time around. So I've gotten through three of the 10 pins. I got one more 10 to go, and I'll be done completed a month. I usually don't like to talk about my feelings on the different doses until I complete that month, because we all know it's not like popping a Tylenol. You got to kind of get through that 4 weeks and then understand the feeling. But I mean, I'll tell you, um, that 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 uh that 10 is just different. The 10 and the 15 is really something special. I haven't been on 15, but just based on the trials, I see that they, sort of kind of like have, people always have a different experience, and they lose the most weight on them. So, and I cannot say it's not true, because I was on the 7.5 over the summer. I was on the 7.5 for the longest, the absolute longest, lost the most weight, but I did feel the time to titrate for a few reasons. And I lost every week, even up to now. I still been losing every single week, which is something like a miracle, but I did slow down. Hey, she is Tamika. I did slow down during the month of August, and I lost like a little more than 2 pounds. I was losing every week, but not nothing spectacular for me personally. 2 pounds is amazing for some people, you know what I mean? But for my journey to this point, no, I don't have any moderators. I don't have any moderators on here, Joe. So for me, the thing about that, like I don't really, to me, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I get on here just to, hey, Darian, how are you? How are you? Yeah, I haven't got any moderators. I'll make sure I select some. But yeah, for me, I'm just getting on here, spreading the wealth of the journey. You know what I mean? So I really don't worry about who's in the chat. We get some, crazy, silly person that want to waste their time and go in there and make negative comments. That's, let them have at it. But so with titration, I usually I got to the point on the 7.5 where I used it for the longest, lost the most weight on it, and basically I knew that it was time for the 10, because I had got, my weight loss had got really slow, much slower, and I had more food noise than I had the entire time, so I felt like my body was ready for it. Now, when it comes to the 10, right, I have no plans on going any farther, but again, we can't speak into the future. We can say what we might not do, but we don't know for sure. So I'll just leave that at that. But right now, I have no plans on going beyond the 10, because I think that for me personally, based on my weight loss, 26% in 84 weeks, that would kind of lean towards, I probably don't need any higher dose, right? So my wife is doing amazing. This was the end of her second week. She's only been on Zepbound for 2 weeks, and she lost 5 pounds. She lost 5 pounds. We know the first month is that month where you can get a decent jolt. But I mean, with me, obviously, she's doing all the things, like, you know what I mean? She watched me on the journey, and so she know what's up. She know what to do. My wife is only she's just 5 feet tall, and she's looking to probably lose about 50 pounds. So she's under 200 pounds. I don't want to give up her whole journey, because it's up to her, and I don't want to, I'll just say she's under 200 pounds, and she wants to lose about 50. So she's well off, into her journey now, and she's motivated, and she's doing a great job. So basically, no. So as far as titration is concerned, I've been doing really well on that 10 milligram, and I'm very excited about that. I have not had that increased heartbeat because most know that that was a thing for me, having that increased heart rate when I got on the 10. So I'm just very happy that that's not the case right now. I don't really have to worry about I haven't had to worry about that particular issue, and it really really works. I don't. Hey, thanks, Darren. Yes, I will let her know. She might be watching. I mean, but I'll tell you, my number one fan. I got a number one top fan, and the number one top fan is Empress. That's my daughter. She's 6 years old, soon to be 7, and she watches all my videos. She goes through. She knows how to get into the comments. She knows about sometimes she'll tell me how many views and this, that, and the third. I'm not even thinking about it. She'll be like, "Hey, Daddy, look what you got." She even asked me tonight. She said, "You going on live?" So she probably upstairs watching me now. So I try to keep it G rated. You know what I mean? So, but she's my number one fan. I mean, for sure. That baby is the number one fan. So I have to make sure. I think I posted her back in July when we was at the Kalahari Resort, So she's the boss around these parts. So, but yes. So I was talking about the 10 milligram. I think that is an amazing dose. Just like I said, this I was my loss had slowed down, the amount of loss, and then I took that and it kind of picked right back up. So I'm off, to the races, in my opinion, because um just being on for the last couple of weeks, I've probably lost, probably about, I want to say, what is that, 6 pounds, I want to say, since I started it. You know what I mean? So I think that's like really good. Like, it got me right at like 2 pounds a week. So I'm happy about that. So if things keep going the way they're going, I think I'll meet the timeline I had set from the very beginning for my 100 pounds, because I said I wanted to be down 100 pounds by the end of November. So I might hit that. You know what I mean? With the way things are going, me being down 84 pounds right now, so I might hit it, because most people know that my goal was 219, 100 pounds, because it would. The reason being, it was to put me out of obesity and just into overweight. That was my initial goal. And just educating myself throughout the year and on a journey, and learning a little bit about maintenance. And again, I'm not a physician. I'm not your physician, and I am just someone here, giving my journey through my experience. So make sure you check with your physician. Anything that I say is just pertaining to myself. Make sure you check with your provider or physician before you decide to do anything to alter your journey. But if you decide so, but my thing is, for me personally, um, I was just trying to be out of obesity, hence the obesity warrior moniker, that I usually champion. Um, you know, that obesity warrior thing is real. You know what I mean? Because obesity is a disease and it's something you fight all the time, right? So therefore, I could be at 219 by the end of November. We're at the end of September, and I'm actually 235 pounds right now. So 219 is definitely in the view. I can see it. Um, I never really had my only desire was to just not be obese. As far as me learning over the year about what maintenance looks like, um, what I personally think that is I think you stay on uh, the most successful dose that you can tolerate, um, long term, and not necessarily something that would cause you to lose more weight, but allow you to maintain, whatever that dose is. And you just pretty much stretch it out, whether it be 10 days, 14 days, or what have you. But that's kind of what maintenance looks like. And it's from a pound perspective, I would say you probably need about 10 to 15 pounds to kind of like give yourself breathing room to, go up and down. So that's why I said my ultimate goal would be about 200 pounds. Why? Because if I'm 200 pounds, that means that I can go through things, whether it be I don't know, injury or just life events, gain weight and still not go back into obesity, right? So that's why I'm saying 200 pounds, because that gives me a 20-pound window where things can go up and down, because if you don't know, are going to be the same weight. We're not going to wake up and be the same weight all the time. There's different things that's going to happen in our life, good or bad, and some things just fun. Sometimes in fun you'll gain weight too, right? So I'm not looking to, like I said, like remain the same exact weight, but I would like to ultimately probably bottom out at like 200 pounds. Now, the other caveat to that is that will also put my BMI at about 27, right? And one of the prominent doctors had got on an interview and had also mentioned that when you actually hit that 27, 26, 27, right around there, the likelihood of a whole lot of comorbidities and cancers actually falls way well below anything serious. The percentage of any of those things occurring drops drastically. So, me being, again, I'm 6 foot tall. So as a 6 foot tall guy, me being right around 200 pounds puts me, in that, close to healthy range, slightly overweight. You know what I mean? So, and that's good for me. Obviously for me to get to what the BMI would consider healthy, I'd have to be 180, 183 pounds. And I don't see that in my life at all. You know what I mean? Me at 180, no. So, and some people, because we all know that BMI does not factor in bone, I would say bone density, like the weight, you know what I mean? So, and me personally, I know without even a DEXA scan, I have large hands. Look at my hands, my feet, I have big feet. So I know my bones, even without fat, are large. I'm a large bone person. My arms, like I'm a big guy. People say big boned it, but I guess that rings true in this situation because I have big features. So when I have the big features like that, I don't see me following the BMI chart to the T, because that would put me at 180, and I don't think I would like that. Look, my son is 5'7" and he's 150 pounds. You know what I mean? And he plays football. He's in, amazing shape because he's 14. You know what I mean? So me being just 30 pounds above him, that doesn't, I just know in my mind that's just not the right thing, for me. So if I get it right around 200, between 200 and 220, 200 and 220, just I live my life in that range, I'm completely fine with that. And like I said, right now I'm at 235. So being at 235, it's also something in my mind like, wow, because I can't remember being under that. You know what I mean? Like this is just mind blowing to be 235 pounds, because even when I was actually an avid like treadmill runner, I think the lowest I had got is like 244. You know what I mean? So to be 235 now, and I haven't been on a treadmill or even walked because of my osteoarthritis. You know what I mean? So my feet, have given me so many issues over the last couple of months. I'm just elated that I can just do my resistance training. Lift my just lift weights like I do, and remain in good health. You know what I mean? Like I am. So that's my plan, to just resistance train, lift weights, stay off of my feet, let them heal. I do have a surgery coming up next month. So I'll be, probably down for that for at least 2 weeks, non-weight bearing, and then the other, I want to say like 8 weeks, just trying to, get back into rhythm. The surgery is pretty much where they fuse the large big toe to the joint, and then they put a titanium plate on. They put that titanium plate on is to kind of offer flexibility, and they shorten the toe and they have it kind of where it can rock, so it allows you to do more, right? So we'll get to the chat. I'll go back to the chat, go back through and look at the comments, and kind of answer questions and read from there a little bit later. So where was I? Yeah, so I'm talking about osteoarthritis, right? So me being 44, soon to be 45 in January, I do have planned all of my cancer screenings. So I am going to be doing all my cancer screenings at the top of the year, just to make sure that, I'm in bounds with that as a 45-year-old African-American male. So that way, if anything, I can get on top of things right away. God willing, there's nothing, at all. So there will be nothing to get on top of, but I do want to do it early if so. So, obviously being at risk because of, obesity and things of that nature. So, that's pretty much that as far as my update with my weight, where I am, what my plans are, right there, so. I don't know if you guys got to see the healthy mentality panel with myself and the other guys. If you missed it, I want to go into a little bit of that tonight, and talk about a little bit of the community goings ons, I guess if they say. Um, Not a real question. Could I just stop and say how amazing you are? You are RMCs. Thank you, Joe. You are amazing. You are really amazing, and I do appreciate your consistent support. That was a major panel. I think that I really am appreciative that Charles put that together and had us guys have an opportunity to share a space and talk about some real things. And it wasn't just a GIP conversation, right? So that's a good segue for where I'm going, right? So the thing I wanted to really get to and talk about tonight was that on that panel we talked a lot about our mental health, right? We really like got off into that, and I think that I want to address that tonight, right? On this live, because I feel like, not just I feel like, I want to just talk about my experience, right? Because a lot of times in our community, I had made a short, because after the lady, I'm sorry I keep calling the girl, after the young lady, Brittany Rose, made her video, it became a little controversial with certain, groups. And I was one that, not necessarily defending what she was saying. I was actually trying to give my point of view on what I felt like that she might have been trying to convey. Now, clearly, there were things that she said that is not going to be agreeable, to a lot of people, because she, used the word diet culture, you know what I mean? And people, say, well, hey, why make the word diet a bad thing? You know what I mean? Because the word diet is not a bad thing, right? I think that what she probably wanted to do was talk about mental, right? Your mental health, you know what I mean? And she got off on a tangent about specifics of what people do, right? So if we stay away from the specifics, right? Because it was specific. She got into counting calories, tracking this, doing it, right? The specific things people do when they're trying to lose weight, right? And what she probably should have did was stay away from it, because what it did was upset people that might be doing those things or might have done those things, right? Hey, Harjarine, how are you? So here's my thoughts on it, right? Not on her topic, but on what I think, you know what I mean, needs to be talked about sometime, right? And what that is the anxiety. I feel like sometimes people get on the weight loss journey, right? And move from one issue to creating another for themselves, right? And what I mean by that is some get so, I think, like bogged down into doing certain things that they have so much anxiety about the number, right? The number of pounds that they're losing on the journey. And if they're not losing that, it causes them to do certain actions, right? There's certain actions that they take, right, that might not be the safest, because what they start doing, and again, I'm speaking personally from what has happened and what has happened with me. Now, this hasn't happened, and what I mean is when I say happened to me, not stuff that I'm doing, but stuff that people are doing based on watching me. That's what I mean. So if you haven't experienced that, then you probably can't speak to what I'm saying, because what you're doing is going into certain channels, or not, maybe just focusing on your channel if you are an influencer and have a channel, right? And not looking at some of the things that are going on around you, right? So I'm paying attention to what's going on around me, and sometimes I'm put in it because people say my name, right? So when they say my name, right, that means that it's a correlation to me. So what it is that I've seen, right? What it is that I've seen is I've watched people be brought almost to tears on this GLP-1 journey, right? When it should be about becoming very happy, right? And that's not to say things are, when things don't go your way, right? You don't want to address them or feel a certain way about it. But what I'm saying is, if you are like being brought to tears, like on these particular videos that we're sharing with the communities, right, for what's going on, you might have to take a step back and say, well, wait a minute, right? Am I actually creating a new issue with some of the tactics that I'm going through with this particular thing based on the fact I'm not seeing what I want to see, right? That's my point. I don't, as far as the particulars, to each his own, right? If you are somebody that tracks calories, counts calories, that tracks everything, right? Fine. I have no issue with that. I have no issue with nothing nobody wants to do. I want you to do anything that would make you successful, right? Because that's the whole point. You want to be successful in your journey, whatever that looks like, whatever that looks like. But if you're getting on the camera like I am right now, and you're almost in tears, okay, and having anxiety attacks about where you are in your journey, right? Based on what you woke up this morning and saw when you looked down at your toes and saw these numbers, that's a problem. That's a problem. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about whether you count, whether you do this, whether you do that. Doesn't matter to me. You can do whatever you like. You know what I mean? But if you are getting on these airways and you're expressing that your comparing has brought you to tears, you know what I mean, to the point where you're doing things that's harmful to you mentally, come on. Come on. That is not a safe place to be. It's just not. And those things have happened. So that's what we're talking about. I'm not talking about semantics of, what you decide to do, right? Because let's keep it real. Everybody on this journey for different reasons, right? Now at the end all be all, these things help you to lose weight, right? But your reasoning, right? My reason was emergent. My reason was because we got people of all different ages. My reason was because I had health markers that were not good. High cholesterol, hypertension, osteoarthritis. You name it. I didn't have pre-diabetes. I wasn't pre-diabetic or diabetic. And that's actually very good. But my heart was an issue for me because, the doctor said that I could be, I could have a heart attack in less than 10 years. So for me, and that doesn't go anywhere because I have a regular heartbeat. I've wore heart monitors, right? So I don't ever have to remember or think why I'm doing what I do, right? Because it's always right there. It's always right there, right? So since what it is that I'm doing is always right there, I don't have to remember my why, because a lot of people that's on the journey are on it for looks. You know what I mean? Well, if I get down to this, I'm gonna look like this in the mirror, right? It was never about that for me. It was never about that for me. You know what I mean? Like I've been with this, I've been married for 18 years. I'm not looking for anybody to look at me any kind of way. Even though, hey, it's nice when people do. My thing was all about health. You know what I'm saying? So that wasn't for me. So I'm not in the all, because I could care less, what people think about how I look. My thing is I'm on it for health reasons, right? Now, the good looks, is something that is a byproduct of it. Amazing. You know what I'm saying? I'll take that. Right? But we're different ages and we have different thoughts and we have different things going on. So if you never sat in front of a physician, the physician said these words to you, and let alone being a parent, right? Because I'm a parent. There's people that depend on me, right? So my fight is not your fight, right? Your fight is for your own personal reasons, right? And a lot of times with a lot of us, that could be just about your look, right? And I've gotten to the whole recomp video before, and when I was talking about, chasing a number, right? Let's just say, your goal is to be, and I hate, putting out numbers, but let's just say, you start a goal and you say, hey, well, I want to lose, 100 pounds, right? So far, you've lost 70 pounds, right? But you still feel like you kind of look the same, but just smaller, right? I look exactly the same, but I'm just a lot smaller, right? If you lose another 30 pounds, you still might feel the same way, because the whole thing you're chasing is not pounds down, it's recomposition of the body you have, right? Through muscle building and, you working out and just recontouring your body. So if you haven't done that, right? You haven't, I'm single, I'm looking for some leave me alone. Oh my Lord. Jen, you like the female go to this whole thing. So I don't even know this. You already know you straight. Like, you know what I mean? You have lost, the job that you did with the GLP-1 is absolutely amazing. And you might be able to teach a class. You know what I mean? So, that is what it is, right? But like I said, a lot of people, are on it about looks. And like I said, since this is my channel and my live, I get to express myself how I want. And what I'm saying is that wasn't what it was for me. It's all about health for me. And I've done that, right? But me continuing is about sustained health, right? So, because again, I have people that depend on me to be around for a long time. So I never have to think about, well, man, why am I doing this? I know my why every day when I wake up, right? And it doesn't go anywhere. It's not just for reasons of how I look. And I could care less. I really could. Like, it's the same with like monetizing the channel. Because there was like a young lady said, well, if some people let you express yourself on their channels and it don't matter to me. I'm not here to monetize. Like, you know what I mean? If anything, I give out the I do the monetizing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm willing to, give people super chats and all that stuff. I'm not looking for that. I could care less whether people like what I say, don't like what I say. I'm gonna say what I gotta say on your channel, off your channel. So maybe I'm going down the wrong. It's not the right way to get followers, but I don't care. I don't care because I show receipts. Anything that I'm saying, I done and I do, and I show people how to do it. Right. So so whether you're successful on your journey and whether you feel like you want to listen to me, great. If you don't, you know what I mean? But that's another story. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like my whole thing is all about, people just sort of kind of like being nice, right? Let's be nice to one another. We do have to know sometimes that there are mean people on here, right? There are people that are so mean, that have channels and they kind of one of one. Let's talk about Geez1of1, right? Why I put 101, right? I think I'm a very peculiar person, and there's only one of everybody is themselves, right? Nobody's built like you, and the 1 of 1 is because I think I personally offer something that someone else does not, right? There's only one of me, right? So if I'm giving you that, right? So if I'm giving you that, then that should be, something that you respect, right? So, but we do have channels where they'll listen to something and their whole week of content will be about that, right? Right? And so my thing is, I would rather just be original. Talk about yourself, talk about, what it is that, and that's not to say don't cover the news, right? You cover that. But I'm just saying, like, the moment somebody says something, I mean, a lot of times these are people that got massive channels, 5,000, 10,000 followers, subscribers already. You know what I mean? So what is the point of you, jumping on and just like kind of like talking about someone else and what it is that they said and debunking, everything that they said. That might have been how they felt in the moment. And they might come back and make another video and might be saying something totally different. We all got that space, right? So that's just kind of like how I feel about it. I just think we need to be more nice because we have a lot of people who actually do that. They just listen out for content, jump on and just debunk everything that somebody says, even if they're not telling you to do it, right? And that is just kind of like what they call mean girls. You know what I mean? That's a lot of that, out here. It's not cool. It's not cool. Like, just be nice. You got enough people that's against people that use GLP-1s in the first place to where we shouldn't be fighting each other, right? What are we fighting each other for? I don't understand that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't need to be mean to each other. If you close your channel and you go right on to YouTube to a multitude of other places, they sitting there talking down GLP-1s and all of that kind of stuff. Hey, Felicia, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm glad that you got an opportunity to join the chat tonight. We just did an update and just covering a few things. But yeah, that's just something that I felt like I wanted to address. You know what I mean? Because I really feel like I'm just seeing more and more of it, because I mean, unless you under a rock, GLP-1 space is growing. Like, look at all of these people, all of these channels. Like, some of us right here, right now on this live, I got 15 people in here. I got 19 likes, so I do appreciate it. I feel like some of us that's on this channel right now and that's looking at me and that does the same thing that I'm doing. You didn't imagine yourself in this space this time last fall. This time last year, in September 21st, you didn't think you would be on YouTube making videos. I really don't. Hey, Lifestyles of Journey with Casey B. You really didn't. You really did not think that you would be on here making video. I know I didn't. I didn't, because honestly, I could have took my shot, lost my weight to myself, and not said a word. But I'm not built like that. You know what I mean? I'm all about sharing the wealth, man. I'm about sharing the wealth. If I know something, I want everybody to know like how I'm doing it, right? You know what I mean? That's why I post so much. Like I post, pictures and my food and hey, did y'all see the and Jen, I think you some sort of like detective, man. You said you single, but whatever man get with you, boy, they gonna have to be. I ain't post where I was at, but Jen tell me something look like Texas Roadhouse. I'm like, my goodness, you were. That's how my wife is. She will, boy, she'll call you out in a second. Call you out in a second. Be like, oh, I know where it's at. Jen got right on there telling me something. Oh, it's like Texas Roadhouse to me. I'm like, wow, it's probably been there, but basically I showed the steaks because when you go in, you get to pick your steak. And of course we picked the 26-ounce ribeyes, the ones not even on the menu. So yeah, that's definitely true. Vandy said, no matter what you say, if it's something outside of an echo chamber, people are going to be sensitive. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? People are. I mean, obviously, we're all people, and we're gonna say different things. I'm just saying, I feel like there's a level of meanness sometimes that we already deal with that stuff. So from the outside. So I mean, we could. I mean, state our opinion. State our rebuttal. You know what I mean? Like, because we are in it to have a conversation, to have adult conversations, and there's nothing wrong with disagreeing. You know what I mean? But it's just a way to do it. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to be ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? Because I dealt with it when I first. Like one of my first videos, I had a mean girl that was in there kind of like talking about what I was talking about. And RMZ was the guy at that time to tell me like, hey, look, just do the work, man. Don't even worry about none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I was worried about it, but I just wanted to clarify. And that's why I did that whole clarity video. But the crazy part about it is the person wasn't even a content creator. It was just one of the people that always just get in and like just be in the comments. She was saying things or whatever. And they had said that I guess they did there was a live, and then on that live, they were still like, I guess, stuck on that time, right? And when I haven't found the mean girls yet, or they haven't found me. Yeah. See, Vanity, I think you do. I think you might not even notice it, but you do a lot more of working on the growth of your own channel, which is cool. People like, I just be minding my business. That's kind of, and that's cool. Like, you know what I mean? But I'm saying, I'm not, whether my channel grow or don't grow, it doesn't matter. I'm just being my organic, authentic self. Like, you know what I mean? Whoever decides to subscribe here, wonderful. If you don't, wonderful. It doesn't matter to me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm going to be successful and share my journey. And whoever want to come get this knowledge and see what it is that you could do to get where you want to get, come on, let's go. But if not, I don't care. I really don't. So, I mean, but I don't think you pay. So I pay attention. Like, I'm in all these other community like I'm on everybody page. I show love to everybody. I show love to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't, and when I go in there, I leave super chats. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm even, and just because, like, you know what I mean? Because I feel like you putting the work in, you deserve it. Like, you know what I'm saying? You really deserve it. Like, I feel like anybody who I go to their channel, whether it's Twine, your channel, like all the big channels, I will leave super chats. You know what I mean? Because I respect the grind. You know what I'm saying? But me personally, I'm not here for it. I don't. So that's why I'm not. That's why I don't worry about like if people take offense. You know what I mean? To something I say, I care because I don't want them to take offense. But I'm saying I'm not like, oh my God, what if I say this? I say what I want. You know what I mean? Because I'm not looking to monetize or and whoever here, whoever not. You'll see the value in following me or you won't. It's that simple. Like it's that simple. You see the value or you don't. That's it. And what I mean by that is if you hear about weight loss, I'm doing that. And I'm doing it at a rate that's unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? Safely, right? Safely. With proper protein, probably the most high quality protein of anybody that you probably see on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about 26-ounce ribeye steaks, right? Y'all seen it. I ain't playing. Come on now. And steady weight loss. I've been losing weight for 37 weeks. Who else losing weight for 37 weeks? Straight. And I put the numbers up there. I'll wait. I'll wait. And no, I don't have no sleeve. I don't got none of that. All I got is my pen. All I got is my pen. Right? So that's what I'm saying. 37 weeks straight. Straight. You know what I'm saying? No days off. You know what I'm saying? So there might be some, you know what I'm saying? So crash out. Oh my God, you feel attacked? Cut it out, Vanity. You are nuts. Talking about she feel attacked. Let me go get in the comments, man, because I feel like I'm rambling. I don't want to be rambling. Let me go back because I'm starting to ramble a little bit. So I'm gonna go back and answer some of these questions if there's any. Y'all put any questions in here? I don't see no cues. Let me go back, read a little bit. I got to start bringing my glasses home. I usually leave them in my office. And then when I get here, because I don't be expecting to be reading like that. Then when I get into these lives, I don't got my glasses. Y'all see me squinting. I be up looking all, but yeah. All right, so we started the chat with a lot of hellos. A lot of hellos. So we'll get past that, see if anybody put anything interesting. I guess y'all can drop the cues if y'all, if y'all like, so that way I can tell if there's any questions. All right, so just a whole bunch of hellos, which you guys kind of went back and did that. Went back and forth and talked to each other already. I don't see any questions. Y'all talking to each other, which is cool. That's always funny too when people we be in the lives and everybody be having their side conversations. You be like, hey, is anybody listening? Or am I just talking to myself here? Y'all talking to each other. That's funny. Got shout outs. I got Darium calling y'all Destiny's Child. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. You got Vanity here talking to Delilah about exfoliating. Lord have mercy, y'all crazy. Y'all just all got these super sidebar conversations going down. Jen saying, geez, I'm single. That's right. I did address that one. I'm looking for my 18 years. Yeah. Would you leave a job you love for? Oh, this is probably why I need moderators. Okay, so Delilah says, one thing about us is we are like siblings. We say what's on our minds and how we feel, and then we hug it out. Absolutely. I mean, come on, like we can't be, like babies about it, right? We do have to, make sure that we're able to have civil discourse, no doubt. I'm just saying, like, I just don't want people to feel like a way. You know what I'm saying? Like to the point where it gets like too serious because again, we literally just sitting here making videos. This stuff ain't, it's not. I mean, some of you guys are monetized, but for us, that's not. This doesn't do anything for me. I'm literally taking my time and giving, tidbits of what it is that I'm doing to help other people. So Michelle said, correct. An adult conversation being mature, agree to disagree. Shoot, I can say good morning. Some people are going to say you're wrong. It's not morning. Good Lord. I do agree with that. I agree with that. All right. So I think I'm just about through the it says, all right, I feel it. Oh, that was Vanity saying she feel attacked. That's amazing. Thank you for people that's saying that's amazing about my weight loss. JC Calamity says, we may not know everyone. There are a lot of people on these meds. Maybe less than 1% are on YouTube. All right. Oh, there's a question. How do you feel about cycling between fat loss and muscle building? Okay. All right. Good. I got a question. Thank you, Vanity. I feel like you should. I think that you should compromise. I mean, I think that you should do both of them, right? Because I think it depends on what you're looking for, right? Because If it's recomp, and this is a good question because I definitely want to address that because I think I started with that. If we're talking about recomp, right, which is what I think it is for so many people. Like, now again, if I want to put a weight to it, right, if you're 500 pounds, right, when you're 500 pounds, there's not much, we're not talking about aesthetics, right? We're just talking about losing fat at that point, right? Because that's super dangerous, right? To be morbidly obese or clinically obese. I'm sorry. Oh, that's old language. Morbid is now clinically. To be clinically obese is super dangerous. So obviously the goal there is at that point is to just by any means necessary. Let me talk about myself. Like, how about that? How about we talk about me, right? So at 320, nearly 20 pounds, right? 320 pounds. At that point, my point was to lose weight, period. I didn't care how it was coming off, right? I just want to get rid of some of it because I know my body has no business being 320 pounds, right? Um, but naturally, because of who I am now, I don't want to say that, not naturally. At first, what I was doing is I was just walking, right? I would just walk, right? And I'm just talking about my GLP-1 journey. I'm not going back into my whole history because we'll be here all night. But just for the GLP-1 journey, January through September, right? So when I first started, and I want to pick up in February because January was a blur. It was my birthday month coming right out the holidays. I took the shot, didn't know what to expect, and I wasn't really recording. I only know my weight because I did it at the beginning. I took it at the beginning, and I took it at the very start of my first shot, and then I took it in February. I took it maybe right in the middle of January, and I took it again in February. So that's how I know I lost 15 pounds in that first month, right? But February was when I got serious, And I had said on my last live, I was one that actually would walk every day. I would walk in the rain. It could be raining. I'd just be walking. People are like, is this dude crazy? Like, yeah, this dude must be a fool. He out here walking in the rain? Like, what is he? You know what I mean? Because I was that, I wanted to lose weight, by any means necessary at that time, right? Because I knew I was in an emergent situation based on what my doctor said. So I can go back to that again. It wasn't about looks. It was about the fact that my doctor said, you got to get healthy or you could die. You could have a heart attack, right? And then I'm saying, well, I got kids and my kids depend on me. And hell no, I ain't letting that happen, right? I'm going to make sure that I'm around for them. And it's because it's my responsibility. I'm not going to leave that on my wife to deal with because we created those kids together. So I can't just be, overweight and, and it's not because like I just sat there and allowed myself to be glutton because I wasn't, And this is how I know that GLP-1s are important for biology, right? Because believe it or not, I'm not a poor eater. Even when I was 320 pounds, I wasn't eating poorly. Now, there were times where holidays and stuff like that, where we were, there was some gluttony there, you know what I mean? Like you're overeating and things of that nature. But on a day-to-day basis, I was not. But I was still way overweight. And I did do fasting and things of that nature, but it wasn't successful until I started the GLP-1, right? So this is something that I feel like is an absolute need, right? Because it actually helps your biology. Yes, it's a tool. It's a treatment. It is a tool. It's a treatment, right? Because it helps your biology. And so, like I said, to answer your question, at that time, being 320 pounds, nearly 20 pounds, it was just about losing weight, period. Because I had to get it off me, right? So if you go into the SMART scale, you get to look at visceral fat, muscle versus fat. I think I've done a decent job because my BMI, when I first started, was a 43. It was a 43, right? So that's clinically obese. That's where my BMI was at, right? Today, sitting in this chair talking to you, my BMI is a 32. So I went from a 43 to a 32. That's where my BMI went with that 84 pounds, right? So did I lose some muscle? Absolutely, I lost some muscle, right? But how can I can't pick and choose when I'm trying to lose that amount of weight. But I also know, if I go down to be a 200 frame man, right, a 200 pound frame man, I don't need the muscle I had needed to carry 320 pounds, right? If I lose 120 pounds, do I need the same amount of muscle to carry a 200 pound man myself around? I do not. Not even close, right? And I know even right now, sitting here today, I still got a ton of muscle, even though I lost some muscle, right? Of that 84 pounds, if I had to guesstimate, I lost probably about 20. It could be almost 20 pounds, right? Almost 20, probably shy of 20 pounds. That could be muscle. You know, um, yeah, probably about 20 pounds. But that also means I lost about 64 pounds of fat. I don't know if you guys ever seen those videos where they show you like what the 1 pound of fat look like, right? Pretty big, probably about like that. So if I had 64 handfuls, that 20 pounds of muscle that I lost was worth every bit of it. The 20 pounds of muscle I might have lost was worth every bit of it because I got rid of 64 pounds of fat that basically was causing me comorbidities, right? So I reduced my blood pressure, right? I came off of one blood pressure medication, right? My cholesterol is better than it was probably at any time in my life other than when I was a child, right? My health overall was worth it, right? So building muscle, right? That's something that we should probably practice lifelong, right? But if you're in a phase, right, where you're looking for a specific result, which I know that's what your question is, for a temporary or a short term, right? What I feel personally is you attempt to do both, right? You attempt to do both. Now, can you do them simultaneously? Sometimes, right? There are ways, right? But I feel like this is why your specific movements, the amount of weights that you lift, right? Because we talked about hypertrophy, right? Or hypertrophy. Some people call it hypertrophy. Some people call it hypertrophy, right? So hypertrophy, right, which is about larger muscles. Like for those that don't know, right, it's not just about strength. It's about building larger muscles, right? So there is a specific way to do it, and I actually posted some of the results. I mean, some of the ways to do so in my post. So if you go back in my post and you look through the photos, you'll see me post 3 different workouts. I posted full length, a quick one, and a hybrid. If you want to go back and take a look at it, right? And I think there's amazing muscle building tips in that if you're just looking for muscle building. But I think we can do both, right? I think we can do both. But I think that sometimes you have to actually focus on one a little bit more than the other to get where you need to go. And at first, for me personally, I just needed to go however it need to go. You know what I mean? So now I'm to the point where I can focus more on that because I only got about 35 pounds absolute maximum that I would even like to lose, right? And based on everything that I've just said, in that 35 pounds, I could possibly lose 7 or 8, 9 pounds of muscle, more. You know what I mean? Which I mean, if I did and I brought my gram total to, let's just say 30 pounds, right? If I lose 120 pounds and I lose 30 to 35 pounds of muscle, was it worth it? Hell yes. Hell yes. Because I'm going to build. Even though muscle building takes longer, I don't need it all. I don't need all that muscle for this much smaller body. You know what I mean? So I think that some of the stuff that I might worry about early on, which I didn't, but I could have been, wouldn't have made sense. But if it's personal, like I said, to some of the ladies that are, if it's a question, about the ladies that's looking for contouring of the body, yes, I believe you can do both, and I believe that you can, and you might want to cycle depending on your own personal journey and what you're trying to get out of it. If that answers your question. I hope I answered your question. I might be all over the place. All right, what we got here? You're doing a great job. Thank you, Harjareen. We was listening. I promise. Last month, this is Vanity. No, y'all wasn't. Vanity, you ain't listening. Y'all just like, whatever. I still need protein snacks. Snack ideas if anyone has any. I'm still new in the game. Okay, this is for sweet pants and champagne. Oh, okay, sweatpants and champagne. I'm saying sweet pants. Excuse me. Sweatpants and champagne. I think that I probably just followed you. I seen an update earlier today. And you were the person talking about the meat aversion, I think, right? So I'm a heavy carnivore on this channel. So if you got meat aversion, you're gonna be real grossed out if you go follow my post because we all about the ribeye over here. So, but as far as protein ideas, I would say if you can't get high quality, like I said, protein via meat, which is I think the number one source, chicken, steak, fish, those sorts of things. You may want to go with Garden of Life protein powder because It doesn't have anything harmful. It's all natural. Well, so to speak. I mean, because even the protein powders are a processed thing, right? But I usually, if I'm gonna promote anything, I say Garden of Life. If you're looking for protein, just to kind of like break the little shake to kind of break the day up. And then they have edamame beans. Those are a good source, but they can be a little dry, in my opinion. I got some in the cabinet. I still ain't ate because I'm just not with it. They just like a little bit too dry. But yeah, there's things like that are, if you want to just stay healthy. Sydney says you were on a roll, so we were just listening. Who you talking to? Oh, this is Mika. I'm not sure who that is. Okay, so we got Delilah telling Sweatpants that jerky and salamis for protein snacks. Vanity says, I was dying laughing listening back to my stream last night. We have tough skin and don't always agree. Yes, Vanity. You was in that bag. Darian, hey there. He's speaking to Sweatpants and Champagne. What foods do you enjoy or not enjoy? We can offer some of this. We're not always going to agree, and that's got to be okay. Absolutely, absolutely. Lifestyle journey with Cassie B. We are not always going to. Matter of fact, most of the time we might not agree, but there's a way. There is a way. There's etiquette, right? There is an etiquette to what that looks like. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. If I make this video, right, what is it, 8:13? Like, if I wrap this up at 9 o'clock, right, and I get off and I go about my business, right, at 9:01, right, you probably shouldn't come on here and attempt to debunk everything that I said line by line, word for word, because then it looks like, you know what I'm saying, it's targeted, right? When in all actuality, we could just have the conversation, and then you could say, well, G's had an opinion on this, and some may agree, to each their own. But what I think about that is, based on my personal journey, is such and such. You see what I mean? There's a way to do that, and we're not doing that. It's more like getting on like, oh man, y'all hear that fool earlier? She was on there cutting up, saying a whole bunch of dumb stuff. See what I mean? I hope that makes sense for you. We don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Because we got enough of that with people talking about us even taking the shot, right? Right now, I can't stand meat. That's what Sweatpants. Darian says, if you have some questions for G, okay, he put the cues in. Thank you, Darian. Thank you, Darian. Delia says, that's the thing. We don't have to always agree. We just have to keep cheering each other on and keep pushing. Adults move past it, especially when in the end we are I don't know, just want each other to succeed. Edamame beans, yes. Joe says edamame beans. I did say that. I didn't see it. Little packets of protein for sure. Like those. Thank you. Just make Darian and Joe moderators and let them handle business. Yeah, you're right. I am going to do that. Like with the whole moderator thing, because it's a little crazy. It's a little crazy. But y'all know, like, I don't really do this all that often, so I'll get into that next time and make sure I set that up first. So we are. Keep throwing out CSS. Jen says my rain walks were the best. I bought a rain hat and handled that business. Yeah. I used to have my hoodie. I just throw my hoodie on and I'll just have at it. Like I just walk because I was just so used to doing it every single day. You know what I mean? Like I said, I slowed that up because of like the arthritis, but so I can't do it. And you know what? I mean, I just want to give it up for myself because even me, like, being in this arthritic pain, like, I wake up certain days and, I just had that pain, but I'm still been able to be successful. Like, you know what I mean? I think that's something that some people don't have to deal with, waking up in pain and having to deal with, like, those aches and pains like I do. Because I actually, like I said, I get needles. I get cortisone shots in my toes. And I actually got one in my foot because I got, ultimately I just got bad feet. That's what it comes down to. When you say bad, you want to make it make sense. It's arthritis. You know what I mean? I have arthritis. I've always had flat feet, right? So there's no fat pad to take some of the shock, right? So just imagine me being 320 pounds at that time, and I wasn't 320 pounds for a long time. That was just my actual highest weight. I was 300 pounds for a little bit. But in general, my regular weight was probably 275. I was 275, 280 quite a while. But I wasn't 320. That was just out of control. You know what I mean? Like when I got to that point, When I hit the threes and 320, that's when I started trying to really, really, really do something because it was something that bothered me, being in three anything, right? Because no one should be three something, right? You could be 7 feet tall and you're still not supposed to be three something, right? Nobody should be three anything, right? But people are, right? People are. And the thing is, we try to do what we can to work on it to get out of that, right? So that's the whole thing. Lentils and beans is what Darian said. Lentils, beans, nutritional yeast, and what is that? Quinoa are great sources of protein for sure. Okay, no thanks. Okay, what would you consider fat removal surgery if you had lots of loose skin hanging? I'm certain men have those surgeries, but you only heard women talking about it. Never heard the ask me. I would if I did. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody asked me that before. So I'll say this, right? And this is for Linda's journey, right? Because she's talking about men with like the fat and all that. So women in general, I hate saying women, men, because when you say that, people are like, oh, you're just talking about us. So no, I'm saying in general, women have been known to have more fat pockets than males, right? So they kind of deal with that a little more, right? At most, men might have just like around like the stomach area because they probably carry their weight. And so, like I told someone before, like I've lost 84 pounds, right? But I don't have a turkey. I don't have like the turkey neck, like when the skin, kind of does, I still got, like 30 pounds to lose. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think 30 pounds is going to probably, I just wake up and then my neck all, I don't know. So I don't have loose skin. My arms, I don't have anything on my arms. Like, no kind of loose skin or anything like that. My arms are just like, there's nothing. I don't have nothing to really, really go get skin, removal on. Like around like my waist, I do have like some fat there, you know what I mean, but that I'm still working on getting down. But it's nothing that I feel like I'm gonna probably have to, go get removed. No, I don't think I'll need it. I mean, because I mean, I don't know if it's, I mean, I'm 44. I'm not, too up there. You know what I mean? So maybe my elasticity is probably a bit better than maybe some others. But yeah, I don't really have much loose skin. My legs are pretty small. You know what I mean? My arms, legs, everywhere else. So literally, the only place I even honestly feel like I got a good deal of fat is still like that spare tire section. Kind of around the stomach in the love handles. But even those are like coming down dramatically because if I want to go to my smart scale, that's the one point I stopped myself on. When we talk about visceral fat, right? My visceral fat when I first started this, my visceral fat was, I want to say, at a 34, like a 34, right? My visceral fat today is at 22. It's at a 22, right? That's visceral fat. That's the fat that's obviously around the organs. So I've lost a lot of fat there. My actual the fat percentage is still at 30 or 31, but when I started, it was 38, right? So I was at 38% fat. Now it's 30, 31, 30, 31, one or the other, So my percentages have dropped a lot, in losing that 84 pounds. And that's why I talked about lean muscle too. Because while I did lose, it's not extremely dramatic, in muscle. So yeah, I mean that's something that I don't really envision myself probably going for fat removal surgery because I don't know if I really need it. You know what I mean? I don't think it's that because I mean I'm still not I'm not looking to go wear muscle shirts or get any kind of competition. So I mean any fat that I got, you'll probably never see it. You know what I mean? So and I'm not like holding it up or doing that. I don't have to do anything like that. So yeah, if anything, I probably have like I said, and then like with my shirts and the way where I wear my clothing, you're not gonna. There's no. I mean, if you go look at, because you can go look at my anniversary picture. I had my shirt tucked in. And the crazy thing is, like a lot of guys, see like the belt and the stomach being lapped over the pants and all that. I got a little bit of hang there, but I mean, you could clearly see my belt the whole time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not hanging to the point where it's covering up my belt or nothing like that. So I don't have much. And again, that's still with me having 30 pounds, 35 pounds to lose. So. Yeah, I don't think the loose skin is like that much of an issue for me, at least not right now. 43, I'm not sure what that 43. Let me go see what mine was. I always forget. Oh, maybe you're talking about my when I was talking about the fat. I mean the BMI. Talking about the BMI. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I was 43. My BMI was 43. 43. Okay, so Vandy said hers was 42.9. So yeah, I'm pretty sure mine's was it probably was that. I actually probably think I was like 42.9. I think mine was, I'm just saying 40. I'll round it up. I'm not gonna get into the point thing, but I think mine was probably like that too. Delilah said rain walking is the best. It's the 100 degrees plus that I can't do it in daylight because of the past heat stroke. Oh wow, heat stroke. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Apparently you get it once it makes you more susceptible. Wow, that's terrible. Yeah. But starting BMI was 42.9. I had to get busy. Yeah, absolutely, man. We have to get that off. Um, Jen says that she was telling Sweatpants, how about just air frying some chicken wings, or is something else, Joe? So, question: my brother may get started on this. This is from JC. My brother may get started on this journey in October. How can I be a support system without trying to give advice unsolicited? I have sent him the guy's channel in last week's live. All right. That's pretty much all you can do, JC, right? All you can do is kind of give him just see, because him coming to see me or see RMZ or see other people, I don't know how much he weighs or his BMI and his journey, nothing like that. But and how he might be or his age, you know what I mean. So a lot of things do matter, you know what I mean. Because like I said, I'm 44. RMZ is kind of like early 50s. So it depends. Like sometimes you see certain guys in certain ages, age ranges, that you can kind of like he would be able to identify with, you know what I mean? So if you see those guys that you can actually identify with, you might be willing to do certain things a certain way and get motivation, right? Um, so the thing is, for me, I would say the best thing you can do is what you've done, right? The best thing you can do is what you've done. You show him, like you gave him pages of people that he can go follow to see everything, right? The only other things I would say is maybe just support him by actually maybe showing him how to download certain apps that can help him, like make sure he has a scale, right? So that's the first thing, is make sure he has a scale. Make sure he has the application that goes with that scale. And then the eye opener is usually when you can actually go and see what your actual what it is that your weight looks like on that scale, right? Not just the weight, but your protein, right? I did the same thing with my wife. Like I showed like her protein, and then it shows like your fat, your lean muscle. These are the conversations. Your BMR, you know, um, your visceral fat, all of that stuff. You know what I mean? So once he gets to see that, some of it's eye opening, and it makes him say, well, you know what? I need to like get on this, and he'll actually do those things independently. Because the one thing you can't do is want to do it for them, right? I know you want to do it for them, but you can't. They got to really get in. And the one thing I find, when you actually, once you get that pin, when you get that pin in you, it's like ain't no going back, man. Because once you get on this journey, and what I mean is, if you get past the first couple of months, right? If you can get past the first, let's say 10, 12 weeks, I think you're hooked. You know what I'm saying? Once you get past that first 10 to 12 weeks, there's really no going back, unless you get so sick in those first 10 weeks, 12 weeks, that you just say, oh, I can't do this, and quit. I just don't see it going. And that don't really happen too much on Mounjaro Zepbound. That's more I seen on like Wegovy, semaglutide, because I think a lot of people get sick more so on that. But I think you've done the right thing by opening up this conversation and giving him some tools, but just make sure he has a scale so he has the information and then knows where he needs to kind of go. Oh, wow. Delilah said, I don't think the calculations get so high for her starting BMI. Wow, Delilah. Vanity says, I haven't dropped weight in 2 months. It's been a nice break, but I'm ready to get back to it. And you will, Vanity. Vanity, you're definitely going to, whatever you want to do, you're going to do, because you have the will. You know what I mean? You got the will to do it. You actually educate yourself. So it might not be when you want it to happen, but it will happen. Whatever that is. Whatever weight goal you want to get to, the recomposition of your body, that's going to happen. I would just say keep looking at your beginning photo and your current photo. Beginning photo, current photo, just for keep consistent, that consistent motivation. Okay, Vanity giving up protein tips. Shayna, they welcome in Shayna. Can you see? Can you say 6'7"? I don't know what. I don't, oh, that's somebody. Oh, that's somebody else. Larson TV. I don't know what that is. Thank you. Oh, you don't like meat? I can't help. Laugh out loud. Oh wow, yeah. My aversion to eggs got bad on Zepbound, but I still eat them. Yeah. I think people do have like these little weird aversions sometimes with certain stuff, but I think it all passes, and that's what I meant. Like if you take a few months and you're able to get past like whatever that is, you'll actually probably end up switching back anyway. Etiquette top too rich for my blood. Oh my god, vanity. It's an approach to disagree in a better way. Okay, so Michelle, let me tell you something about Michelle. Don't take vanity so literal. Like you know what I'm saying. You got to just let that fly over your head. You know what I mean? Because you start answering everything. Vanity just be pulling your leg. Don't let her do it. Don't let her do it. I got somebody spamming in the chat. Okay, so it's a source of leadership. Since we are influencers, there are new people here. Makes the environment toxic. Yeah, Michelle. So Michelle, I would say don't get too far. Oh, she asking where are my moderators? I haven't dived into the whole moderator thing, but I'll definitely make sure I get some next time because this is something where I think that they starting to try to spam the chat. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, y'all know this better than me. I don't really I ain't really did lives that much. So I don't really know how to assign them. Hold on. It's Darium says, what does having disagreement etiquette look like? How can someone have civil disagreements and still not be considered mean or ornery or cankerous? So I think that people can disagree and not. So I think it's a lot to it, right? There's a lot to say about tone, right? That's first of all, right? Because well, one thing, the pen is mightier than the sword, right? We all know that, right? So you could actually, write something, and it cut a lot deeper than, a sword. But what I mean is, at the end of the day, it's just a way to address certain things, right? It's a way. And I think all of us know what shade is, right? Everybody know what shade is. They know how to be shady and how to pull it back, right? So I'm just simply saying that in not necessarily our group, we're fine, man. We wouldn't be here talking to each other. I just mean in the whole YouTube world, because there are some big creators that don't necessarily grace the small people pages like mine. They don't, they not, I got some heavy hitters that I do, that do, mess with me. You know what I mean? Like Twan, she one of them. But you got some of those ones that got 4,000 or 5,000 followers and they big time, so they don't really grace these pages. But I'm saying when you have people that might not have that many and they do videos and stuff like that, and you see it, you don't want to have that kind of reach, and then you jump on and debunk everything that they said because I would respect it more if you said, well, hey, can we talk offline? Right? I can shoot you an email and I could probably give you some pointers on some of the stuff that you said. And then I can go and we can have a conversation. Hey, well, yeah, it'd be cool if you go ahead and, what I'm saying, let somebody, you go back and you talk about that and kind of educate the community. But if you jump on, like I just said, the moment that I hang this live up and you come and you jump on at 9:01, let's just say, and you want to debunk everything I said for 2 hours, right? Line for line for line, it's shady. You don't have to do that. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. And what you have in such a large audience, your 5,000 or so followers now, right? Why is it that important? What I said was so important that you felt the need to go and do that? Because if you had that kind of audience, go focus on that and be the big channel you are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why debunk everything that I'm saying? It's just not being nice. We all know what shade is, and I mean, a lot of them are doing it. And what I'm saying is we have enough of that outside the community, trying to get people to be okay with taking GLP-1s and stuff like that. So why is it that, and debunking the people that say, mean things, why is it that we want to add to that? We don't need to do that. It doesn't make sense. Yep, arthritis pain is horrid, Delilah. Vanity says fasting has saved your skin. Well, maybe it did. Maybe it did. Hopefully that's what it is. I mean, I think I had pretty good skin. I don't know to begin with, but yes, you may be right, Vanity. You may be right. Uh, Joe's Sleep and Slim Down Journey says hi at GLP-1 Journey and Review. Uh, okay, y'all just saying hi again. Hi. JC Calamity said that is a good idea about the apps and scale. It is. Because the thing is, you definitely want to give let them have the information in front of them, right? Because it'll give him something that motivates him to like what to work on, right? What to work on, right? And again, I'm not talking about so aggressively that it starts to bother him mentally, that he starts to do things that causes him anxiety and to do things out of the ordinary, right? And what I mean by that, I don't mean lifestyle changes, right? There are lifestyle changes that are required, you know what I mean, to actually be successful in getting healthy, right? But what I mean is that you don't want him doing things that might be harmful to him mentally. And one of those things is focusing on other people to the point where it might harm him, right? That's what I mean, right? Because if you get on here and you're teary-eyed, right? And you're almost brought to tears about where you are, right? Versus where someone else is, that's actually causing mental anxiety, right? And that's not to say we're not going to deal with it. We deal with anxiety every day, our regular jobs and all. But there is a level that we have to actually watch out for. And some people have brought themselves to that, doing things to a point where, and it's like, okay, so you're tracking and you're doing all this and you're doing all of that, and it still ain't working, right? And it still ain't working. So it's like, what do I do now? What do I do next? What do I do? You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes you got to like just live, right? Live your life, right? Do the best you possibly can with what you know, right? And do your best to not obsess. Because if you obsess, it's creating a new problem. And what you don't want to do is go end up on anxiety meds, right? Because if you end up on anxiety meds, what's the one thing that I think we all know, even if now again, I manage a pharmacy, so it might be cheating, but if you are on anxiety meds, what do you think happens when to a lot of people on those medications for anxiety and depression? You gain weight. And a lot of it, right? A lot of times. So if you're doing so much that it causes so much anxiety that you end up having to be treated for it, that's problematic. That's problematic. And there are people doing that, right? Which was my point. Again, I'll go back to, again, the young lady, Brittany Rose, she might not have been, she says certain things, you know what I mean? In a way where, she took a stance that she probably shouldn't have. But again, I think I could be wrong, but at least just what I felt from it was something, again, I'll say for myself, I feel like the mental health aspect does need to be checked on GLP-1, because I feel like some are obsessive in a way where they're doing things and they're crying out for help in a way that we do need to address sometimes. You know what I mean? And at that point, yeah, hell yeah, step back from the tracking and doing anything of that nature, because at that point, is it really worth it? Because now you're talking about tracking something to lose a pound, but you're going crazy mentally, right? Come on now, like back up. You know what I mean? Like it's you're doing a little too much. But yeah, so it went from 32 to 21. That's amazing. That is amazing. GLP-1 Journey and Review. I'm kidding. It was freaking high though. 83.3 BMI. Wow, Delilah. That is high. And I'm glad you got it down. I really am. Joe said it's 1:25 a.m. to you, so I'm going to catch the rest on the replay. Oh, thank you for stopping in, Joe. I do appreciate your support as always. Okay. Night, Joe. Good night, Joe. Yeah, it's 8:30 here. It's not that late here. Everybody saying good night to her. Michelle said, I'm not thinking about her. Oh my God. And she laughing. Maturity. Y'all crazy. I'll be turned, gang. Estoy loco. Vanity is tripping. Did I say that right, Delilah? I'm gonna go live at 9:01 debunking steak. Oh shit. Well, good luck. gonna be hard to debunk that high quality protein, Vanity. Yeah. So yeah, I think I kind of like let everybody know, you know what I mean, what it is that I wanted to convey. It just was, like I said, getting on and just talking about my update and letting people I know. I think we should just, I want us as a community to just be, to be more hospitable and nicer, continue to support each other. You know what I mean? Don't, be so quick to, jump on and fight each other. If we have an opposing view, you know what I mean? And I'll send an email in a minute, you know what I mean, about something that probably shouldn't be shared online, you know what I mean? Because everything ain't for the text. And I mean, we got a group chat. We don't want to be texting each other in the group chat, you know what I mean? Every single thing, you know what I mean? Because some stuff ain't for the group chat, you know what I mean? So, but I'll make sure that I have the moderators in place next chat, so we won't have all these clowns that's coming in doing like these silly these kids. I hope the kids, you know what I mean, that's coming in making these silly comments. um Yes, this was fun. I'm glad you finally caught alive from the beginning, Vanity. I do appreciate everybody that actually came by, and set, with me tonight and jumped on the live and got to see what it is that, I do. So if you know somebody that's looking to a male perspective when it comes to GLP-1 and just in general, send them over to my page, because there is a big mental aspect that I feel like we are missing, in this whole thing, right? We definitely want to make sure that we are paying attention to that and helping one another, because this is not just weight loss, you know what I mean? It's a lifestyle, and that lifestyle, there's an organ that we don't want to leave out, and that's the brain, right? Because that brain can get sick, as well. And that could be a whole nother live, so I won't dive that deep into it. But mental health is very, very, very important. And I just want us to watch out for one another when it comes to that mental health aspect, because a lot of us I see cries for help and we just don't address them, okay? I got the maggots blocked for 24 hours. Laugh out loud. Harjareen says she got them blocked for 24 hours. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. Because like I said, I've only done a couple of lives. This is the lives that's new to me. So I'll make sure, like I said, that I set the moderators up next time, so we won't have to deal with that. That in the chat. So I do apologize about that, but I do appreciate. So thank you everyone that actually stopped in and actually saw the live and sat through and talked back and forth and conversed. I see y'all guys in y'all live because I'm always in everybody's stuff and commenting and liking and just supporting the journey. So there is a way that I like to end all my lives, and usually I say, and I'll say it again tonight: obesity warriors, stand up. We're in this together. Later. Have a good night. Appreciate y'all.